Hey y'all, this is Micah from Wonderdraft. Welcome to part 3 of Let's Build. Today we will be mapping our ocean currents and climatic zones. So I've loaded our mountains map that we created in Wonderdraft into GIMP and added a layer to show our global wind pattern. Since our world has roughly the same size and orbital parameters as Earth, I've drawn a few bands around latitude 0, 30 north-south, and 60 north-south. The yellow arrows represent the direction of prevailing winds. The directions are caused by a combination of Earth's spin and solar heating, creating large bands over different parts of the atmosphere called cells. The two in the tropics are called the Hadley cells. The mid-latitudes are the Ferrel cells, and the polar ones are, the polar cells. With our winds, we are ready to figure out our sea currents. For this series, we'll be ignoring the effects of salinity on ocean currents. First, we'll start with our countercurrents. We'll draw these in purple. We have one that goes all along the equator, one that goes along north and south, 60 in the direction of spin, and then we have one on either side of 60, one going spinwards and one going anti-spin. Aside from these, we have currents that are relatively warmer or colder than the others. I've done these in red and in blue respectively. The direction of the wind and temperature of nearby seas will indicate what climates we use with the exception of the high mountains. Because of this, I always do the high mountains first. I drew these in yellow over various places, as you can see. These areas are cold and arid and similar to Tibet, the Andes, and parts of the Rockies on Earth. Our world features several of these areas. They will help us to determine the next climate zone, the deserts. Deserts are here in, I guess that's orange. They occur where there's little rain. These areas are typically found in the middle of large continents, downwind of major mountain chains, and on the poleward side of north-south 30. You can see we have several of these. Here's one in the middle. This one's kind of in the middle too, but it's also straddling north 30. And these are on the other side of north 30, as you can see, also kind of in the middle. And on the other side of the mountain chains, here, here, and to a lesser extent here. The middle latitudes are where it gets pretty interesting. On the east sides, we typically have north of 30 and south 30 on this side. Subtropical climate. This is like the south of the United States, China, or Japan. Hot and muggy summers, cool winters. Poleward of that, we have the humid continental in this little bluish color. Think like New York or maybe Danzig on the Baltic. And on the west side, we have the Mediterranean, like the Mediterranean, Italy and such. California as well. And north of that, we have the Marine, which is kind of like the Pacific Northwest, like a Seattle type feel. And north of probably 65 and south of 65 south, we have the tundra. There's not a whole lot of it here, mostly on these northern islands, which may or may not be ice capped. I haven't decided yet. But between that and these northern sections here in the middle latitudes, we have the taiga. These are boreal forests like in Canada or Siberia. And lastly, we have the steppe, which is in brown here. This is a semi-arid zone that surrounds deserts and fills the spaces between other zones in the middle of continents. That'll about do it for us today. In the next part, we'll fire up World Machine and generate a river overlay to help us when we drop back into Wonderdraft. Like and subscribe, y'all take it easy.